You're listening to the AfricaMusicLaw.com show. Africa's premier music business and entertainment law show, empowering the African artist.
Okay, folks, let's start off with Linda Ikeji, a Nigerian celebrity blogger who has been a part of helping elevate the Nigerian entertainment industry and its artists, but in the process also carried a lot of gossip news. She's a gossip blogger that has also been detrimental to single mothers, especially single mothers from disadvantaged homes. The single mothers that get involved with the celebrity men and have babies out of wedlock. Linda Ikeji has broke the news on the celebrity daddies, and unfortunately, in a very patriarchal society, the women, the financially challenged single mothers, have been the one who have been the butt of jokes, been shamed, have been ridiculed, and the list goes on and on and on. In addition, Linda Ikeji has been known to discuss celibacy and waiting until you are married before having sex. However, she has now since clarified it after becoming a baby mama. What's happened is, as a result of becoming a baby mama, a lot of people, fans and non-fans of Linda, have said, look, you spent a lot of time talking about other women having children out of wedlock, and sometimes their accusations, not mine. The way you wrote about this women was very condescending, very sort of like they're beneath you, and you made no room to hear their stories, what happened, how they got into the situation. You just said, hey, XYZ has a child by this groupie, or whatever the case may be, or has a child by this girl, and the next thing you know, the girl is ridiculed, shamed, the whole 9 yards, and that shaming continues till today. So they said, what happened? You were preaching celibacy, and now all of a sudden you are the baby mama, you are the story. And finally, they were demanding that Linda Ikeji reveal the identity of her baby daddy. And then some were speculating, others had exclusives where they said, we now know who the father of this baby daddy is. Make the long story short, Linda, in what can best be described as an expose, has now revealed the details of a relationship with her baby daddy. The name of the individual being Sholaye Jeremi. So here's my perspective, and here's why I have an issue with the Linda Ikeji situation. Artists, if you're listening, pay attention, whether you are male or female, this applies to you, and just industry professional and talents as a whole. It's so interesting how you can make one decision, and that decision can affect every aspect of your life. And sometimes you might think you have the upper hand because you let your emotions take control, but you don't. And not only that, I find and know for a fact, being of Nigerian heritage and one who grew up in that society, even though I was born in the US, money obviously talks in Nigerian society. So sometimes when people should just be straight up about things, they look at money and they turn the other way and just pretend it doesn't exist. So let's bring the facts and let's talk very candidly about some of the issues I have as it relates to this particular case. First thing first, just because a relationship has not worked out with you and your ex or your baby daddy is not a license or a right to take the information that you and him shared or what he's revealed to you and put on social media and your blog. And it's particularly unfair if it happens to be a blog that reaches millions of people. You are more than welcome to say, obviously it's your life, to say, hey, you know what? I was in a relationship. It didn't work out. And we had a child. We're going to do what's best for our child and move on. But to go there and bash your baby daddy and make him look like a scumbag and a villain, what are you trying to achieve? Using your child as a pawn? Parents shouldn't do that. It's just with no brainer that parents shouldn't do that. Your emotions don't trump the best interest of your child. Number two, the second issue I have with Linda Ikeji on this is, beyond having a single narrative of her being a victim in this relationship, it's a very, very calculated, and I would say brilliant way she did this, right? But calculated and just wrong in my view. So how is it calculated? She did a photo shoot. She wrote an article that paints her as a victim. At the bottom of the article, you know what she does? She has a call to action saying, hey, this guy has treated me bad. I have this baby, but hey, by the way, help me make more money. Right? So she's deliberate in using this guy and her child as a pawn to increase her bottom line and profits, all while at the same time undermining his credibility and undermining any other ventures from now till forever. And you can already see people talking about it. This guy is a scumbag. This guy is the villain. This guy is a regular Nigerian guy who behaves a certain way, or the stereotypical Nigerian guy who's not, just who's going to cheat, who's going to say one thing and do something else. Not once does this woman ever talk about her role in why the relationship didn't work. She was the saint. She just did everything perfect. And the relationship just didn't work out because this guy was a scumbag that somehow deceived her and she was not able to figure it out. Come on, give me a break. Total baloney. So that's the second issue I have with her. The final issue I have with her, and again, she's brilliant, she's clever. She understands the society she lives in. She understands that if it's a baby daddy narrative of, hey, you know what, I had a baby out of wedlock and I should have used protection. I didn't, because she does say she fell pregnant, whatever that means. She knows she will get it hard, like in terms of the backlash will be very hard. She knows, however, that in a Nigerian society, money talks, but not only does money talk, people have such empathy and sympathy for a woman who's treated unfairly by a man and where she has to raise a child by herself. People have such empathy for such persons where money is involved, because in lower class, they just shame that woman, ridicule and everything else. It's like, okay, whatever. But when you're talking about upper class and everything else, she knows that. So she's painted a narrative that works really, really good, and has digital footprints to last forever and ever. Now, let's talk about the final thing that irks me about this particular story in terms of her action. It's looking at Nigerian law where the parents are unmarried and have a child out of wedlock. So under Nigerian customary law, the custody of the child belongs to the mother and her family if the father is not claiming the child. However, if the father steps forward and claims the child, then the customary courts will look to see whether the father has complied with the customary law requirements that will allow him access or custody to the child. Here's what's interesting. Linda Ikeji in her expose mentions that the father of the child, her baby daddy, had basically, or she says, agreed with her father to a traditional wedding, but that he didn't follow through. So I don't know how the whole agreement comes in, but assuming he did follow through, then under customary law, the general rule is that he would have access or custody of their son. But since he didn't follow through, then he doesn't get that. However, that particular rule is not set in stone and is very fact specific. So it's based on a case by case basis. So if the matter cannot be resolved under customary law, the father, the baby daddy, the Sholaye Jeremi, can certainly petition the high courts, Nigerian high courts, to help resolve the custody issue. And if he does, the Nigerian Child Rights Act of 2003 would govern the custody matter in a high court. So that's the overview. Now, going back to the question of what's in the best interest of the child. We saw it in the Tonto DK case versus now ex-husband, Olakunle Churchill. There is no way anyone can make a straight-faced argument that it's in the best interest of any child to see digital history and footprint of either parent speaking negatively about another parent and inviting the entire world to condemn, to mock, to ridicule, to shame, and form a very negative perspective of the other parent. It didn't work out. That's life. Maturity requires that we move on and that we don't shame of the person who we conceived and had a child with. Yes, there's anger. Yes, there's everything else. But that to me that's just a no-no. The best interest of the child also is not for the child to be used as a pawn to increase profit margins and to also try to make a good name for yourself in the community before everybody. At this point, to me, the most prudent thing to do on the part of Sholaye Jeremi, who's been completely, quote unquote, cut off from access to his child and custody to his child, get a family lawyer. For all you guys listening out there that go on social media and do all this, it's totally unnecessary. Nigeria does have a lot of family lawyers. I know that because the family law articles that I've written, a lot of people keep asking for family law, and I've done referrals and I also know family lawyers in my network in Nigeria as well. Contact family lawyers locally there if you're in a situation like Linda Ikeji or Sholaye Jeremi. Hire one, petition the court through your lawyer for access or custody of your child, and also seek to get an injunction to stop your spouse, if it is in a marriage situation, or your ex from taking your name and defaming you online, or if not defaming you, trying to paint you as this terrible person, because it's not the entire story. It's never the entire story where two people are involved in a relationship. There's your side, my side, and then the truth. That's all I have to say on that. We're going to move on to the next mental health related topics once we take a quick break.